tonight's select board meeting, Thursday, July 24th at 5:02 p.m. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, that's the corner turn, I'm there.
All right. First up is the update from our animal control officer, Diana Worth, regarding the leash law violations, penalties, and filed complaints.
Yes, ongoing issue on Daniels Road. The first offense is at $50. I didn't see where it was noted if it was 50. Then if, this is an ongoing with these two dogs that biting people. And every time I go up there with the state police, we can't find them, so they said they can't do nothing. But we know exactly where they belong. But the people that have the dogs aren't technically residents in the town here. So in order for me to find them, I'd have to go knock on their door or leave it.
So how are they not residents? Are the dogs
They
just
live on
visiting?
someone's property. They're,
Just free reign? Okay.
I mean, there's no support to, if we find them, I mean, they don't pay it.
right, they could like rip it up in front of me, you know, and
Mr. Chair, if I could be recognized, are these licensed registered dogs in
no,
Clarksburg?
they're not even licensed.
So do you have the authority to take
Remove?
them?
I can.
Okay.
I can, that's trying to get them. I tried to get them with another resident up there. When I got out of the vehicle, they took off, and then they came back like towards after me. So one is very vicious, and it will bite.
And when you've been up there, they've been running loose in the
Running
road,
loose,
in the
yes.
yard?
Running loose, and I got a message on Friday last week. Now they're going after people's livestock.
Is there any way to no, dogs are a little tougher. Is there any way to trap them or no?
No.
Kevin, through the chair,
Yes,
just give you an update of what's going on. At Berkshire Health Alliance, they're all over it. She was up there the other day. That black dog
Yep. Pitbull.
belongs in the trailer.
Yep.
He's tied. Now, according to her, he was sweet as pie to her, but there's a situation there where it's a public health issue. That place is a mess. They have a outdoor grill in their kitchen with propane, with no vents, and the inside living area is deplorable. She's got an appointment next Wednesday to return. If the thing's not straightened out, there'll be an issue to evacuate, leave. They have to leave the premise. Now, they're not the owner. The owner is the lady in Adams who owns it. This is her grandson or whatever it is there. He's got other people there. Now, according to what she had told me, the black dog belongs to them. There's another dog, another location down the street.
Belongs to another one that lives on another resident's
Yes,
property.
and a trailer near the road.
And a camper.
Yes, absolutely. And that dog runs loose and then,
Along with the black
Yes.
Pitbull mix.
yes. Now, according, yesterday, the report she gave me, that she met the dog and the dog was friendly as could be. I don't know. You know, what I do know, just so you know that, not to cut on what you're doing, that there's going to be a resolution to all of this, hopefully by next Wednesday.
Okay.
She has an appointment with them. She asked me to join her on the appointment, and there's a resolution to this thing once and for all. So,
Okay.
all right. It's not fair to you or people that walk that road.
You know, because if I do go up there and try to take their dog, they will have to have a state trooper. I just can't go take someone's dog without a warrant.
Right.
If you're gonna be there part of the meeting, Ron, maybe you can hand them a letter saying that, listen, if you don't control letting your dog run rampant, like, you know, your dog will be removed.
Well, in all reality, they're probably gonna have to be removed from the location.
They're going to be removed from the location.
The thing is, if it continues to go after people's livestock, there is a law that if a dog goes after someone's livestock, that the owner of the livestock can shoot the dog. There
Okay,
is,
through the chair also, are we able to obtain a warrant for the dogs? Is that something you already possess, or?
no, the state police has to do the warrant. And so far, every time I go up there with them, they're not even more or less helping me.
But is that something we have to apply for from the state police?
Yes, I have to apply for it.
Do you think that's something we need to do just in case if they move out and the dogs are hanging around? Is that something that we need to do?
Well, if they're gonna move out, they should take the dog with them.
Yeah, the way she updated me is, I got that print, you got a copy of it today, is that we have an appointment next Wednesday.
Okay.
And if they don't meet her criteria that she set forth for them, they have to evacuate the building, leave the building.
That's at the 750,
Yes,
right, 750?
yes. Yeah, the one that's next to the White House.
Amy, what kind of timeframe does she give them to evacuate? Like,
Well, she already sent a registered letter prior already with the stipulations they need to do this, this, and this, because the place is a mess. They did some cleanup, but she actually went inside yesterday and had pictures. She showed me pictures of the inside where she said, "This is insane. You cannot have a gas grill in there with a propane tank with no ventilation." And it's uninhabitable the way the place is. It's just a mess. It's a mess. And there's 2 individuals living in there. So what he does, I guess he takes homeless people and brings them in and gets some money wherever he can from them. But that's beside, that doesn't apply to our business, but
Our meeting is,
next Wednesday, 11:15, actually 11:30, so I'm gonna go with her. She's coming over to boots.
okay, and to address the 822, that's where the other dog is.
And 822, we haven't gone there.
That's the one that was in the camper.
Yes, also, that other one, location, that's the one that had the generator that ran 24/7. That was the initial call for the Public Health Alliance there. According to them, they were going to have their electricity tied into National Grid on August 18th. But it may not matter if they don't adhere to her order.
So maybe I can just get a warrant?
Yeah, if I could through the chair, maybe a contingent plan in case this draws out with these people longer, maybe we just get the warrant and have it in hand.
My only concern is I don't want dogs running up there and biting people or biting livestock. That's my concern. Now they're starting to bite at the livestock.
They're going after people's livestock.
Yeah, that's insane.
And one of the residents up there no longer walks that road. He literally takes his dog and brings it somewhere else to walk it.
Valerie, she said this dog has to be leashed. Cannot be running free. According to what he said, he keeps it leashed, but sometimes he gets out again. You know, it's just incompetence at the end.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cheryl.
You're welcome.
But it's, my feeling is we just gotta give them one strict warning in writing.
Yeah.
When you have one more complaint
Yeah.
on your dogs running loose or trying to attack anyone else or any livestock, they will be removed. Because I don't want to see a dog get removed from their home, but it's the owner's responsibility to take care of it.
I don't want to see people that are walking the street and have their dogs leashed and they're being bitten too. That's insane.
2 people got bit by that.
Multiple times, not once, right? Is it multiple?
3 times.
Yes.
3 different people got bit by that dog.
Yes.
And usually, after the second time, the dog is euthanized. Usually, but I can't even get the dog.
No. Listen, I don't blame the dog, I blame the owner,
It is, and
so.
Okay, so write it, so I should.
Yeah, what's your guys' opinion on that? I mean, I know there's been 3 times that's bitten
Yes.
someone already. I mean, yes.
Yeah, I think move forward to just have the animal removed, because it's obviously not, the situation isn't getting better.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
I didn't realize there was 3 times.
3 times.
3 times already. I think 3 strikes on that, so I'm in agreement with that. I didn't realize it was that bad.
I think they have the option to hand over the dog themselves, or the dog will be removed by force.
So just to clarify, if I could through the chair, we are going to attempt to apply for the warrant to remove the dogs?
Yeah,
Okay.
that one
one at 750.
The one that's,
850.
850, you're right.
850, we gotta look, I gotta look in, look, I can have her, see, I went down the road, it's in the camper.
yes,
Is
yes.
that the tan one? Or the,
That's the white with the reddish whites, the reddish brown spots. That's always with the pit bull.
Right.
That one,
they're a pack.
they're a pack. There's usually, sometimes there's 3,
Yeah,
but it's those 2.
yeah.
Okay.
And I'm assuming there's state police records from all the calls already?
Yep, and I got,
And you have them all ready, just so we
I have.
we have backing to support our decision on this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, I have documentation
All right,
of
excellent.
all the calls and everything.
140 cross.
Yeah,
We're
that,
dealing with that. That's another thing we gotta deal with too.
that needs I guess, a letter too, about their dogs. He still is not getting a kennel license with his 5 dogs, 3 pit bulls and 2 small ones. And they're not licensed still.
So no license, no kennel license.
No, so he needs a kennel license, I need to inspect, and he still won't let me inspect. I can't go on his property, he says I cannot go on his property.
This has been ongoing.
This is an ongoing,
So non-compliance. Are you going forward?
that's what I thought, and I actually, last week, they were loose, all, the 3 of them were loose over next door here.
So if I could, through the chair, perhaps that's, if there's been no incidents of being bit, perhaps that's a stern letter.
No, those are just, he's non-compliant.
He's been there with Mass State Police.
Mass State Police,
Maybe a stern letter from the select board.
No, the letter's not gonna do anything. This guy's not, he's not listening.
I told Ryan the best thing to do is just continue to fine him. And if he doesn't pay his fines, then we'll attach whatever we need to attach. But it's definitely a public health, it's not health, it's just public safety issue with these dogs running around.
How frequently can you find?
Every day if you want.
I think that moving forward, he finds every day until compliance is,
Can we attach a fine to like a real estate bill on something like that? Is that?
She can. If he refuses to pay any fines, she can attach it to the real estate bill, put a lien on the property.
because in the mass law, it says if you do not have a kennel license, because it's a law that 5 dogs or more, you have to have a kennel license. They can issue a $500 fine.
How often?
I don't know, I will go back and read, but that's a $500 fine, because it's the law, you have to have a kennel license, 5 dogs and over.
Yeah, I think he's had plenty of opportunity with this. I think we've been more than lenient, or you've been more than lenient on this. So we're not support the fine as needed on this
Okay.
case.
aggressively and forcefully.
Okay?
One more thing here, let me drop this off, about that residents on 53 Carson's, their dog.
They had a puppy, they just got a puppy, and it got hold of a bat that was dead. I guess it was dead outside for 5 days. And Boston is saying it was up to the town to have it sent to the lab, and that's the bill for,
So my pushback is this, it's not the town's responsibility, it's the dog owner's responsibility. So we shouldn't be on a hook for a $100 fee to have their dog tested. It's up to them to handle it, that's my feel on that.
How long ago did this happen?
Not too long, what is it?
that just happened last week.
Yeah.
What's the turnaround time of rabies if the animal's infected? It's like within a day or 2 anyways.
July 18th.
The thing is, the bat was out dead for 5 days. She knew it was in the grass. The puppy got a hold of it, bit the bat, and she brought it to North County Vets.
Yeah.
North County Vets, and it was either me would have to bring the bat and a cooler to Boston. I would have to drive it to Boston
Absolutely not.
to have it tested, because if the dog did come down with rabies, then the dogs around the area would have to be quarantined also. But it came back unsatisfactory, so,
So the dog didn't contract rabies, the puppy didn't?
well, it was dried up. I don't even know why she would even bring it.
Oh, yeah.
So all I'm saying, the town's not responsible for paying
No,
that.
I don't think so. I mean, that's,
Okay.
No. No, how are we responsible for?
If it happened, I don't know, inside town hall, I mean, maybe, or something like that, but I mean.
We got, yeah, that's a town hall, we got a problem.
But I'm just.
No, but that's what they told her, that it was the town's responsibility to pay for the testing of the bat.
Yeah.
If we chose to. Yeah, that's, that table.
Okay.
Thank you.
For the fines that you're issuing, are they going to be made payable to the town of Clarksburg?
Mike gave me his, it's town of Clarksburg, yes.
Payable to the town of
Yes.
Clarksburg? Can I get a copy of those
If there's,
fines that you,
there's like white, pink, and yellow.
yeah, I've been here for
Is that what you
a
want?
few years and I haven't seen them yet, so.
Because I don't think no one's finding
Not
people.
on the dam though, so now I will make sure who they are and the money's coming in, I know what I'm doing with it.
I don't know what you're doing.
Well, exactly, that's what I was, I'm sure we'll have to have an account if there isn't one set up.
You just want the record of any fines you right now, just so that you can
Absolutely.
keep reconciling if it comes in.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's the first time, and it's,
Yeah, bring it on, we need it.
okay, I'm all set.
All right, thank you very much, much appreciated. Cool. All right, next up, Allison and Company, PC Management, letter review and audit. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you. My name is Dave Irwin. Joe Collins, my colleague. You should have a copy of the audit report in front of you. It's the larger the document, so we'll start with the larger one first. Okay, it says financial statements. So we wrapped up, we actually finished the audit. The opinion on the financial statements is actually dated at the end of May. And I guess due to scheduling conflicts and vacation, on my part, I guess I wasn't able to get out here when Ron wanted us, so I had a slight delay. Well, in the financial statements, if you turn to page 3, it should say independent auditor's report at the top. Okay. Well, this is the opinion that we issued over the financial statements. This is for fiscal year June 30, 2024. And then that second category right there is a summary of opinions. Now, the governmental activities, I got the word adverse there. And what that means is we weren't able to issue a full opinion over the government-wide financial statements because the town's required to report your liability for benefits that you offer in post-employment, like health insurance to retirees and stuff like that. Well, the town's going to have an actuary to actually perform that calculation in order for us to get that number recorded in the financial statements. So we didn't have that, but I believe the town is moving forward with getting that starting in fiscal 26, so we'll have that as coming up. Yeah, OPEB is the short word. Sorry about that.
If my memory serves me, we're doing a study, correct, for how much you need to put in it per year.
Because we were similarly under, yeah.
Right. Well, right now, we don't have any money set aside for any post-employment benefits in regards to like health insurance, these types of benefits here. So you're really using, it's a pay-as-you-go model. As the health insurance premiums come in, you're paying them as part of your budget process.
Okay.
But the general accepted accounting principle says that if you do offer that benefit, we're required to figure out what that future liability is and then report that amount on your balance sheet. So we don't have that valuation, but it's hopefully coming in fiscal 26. And then once we get that, that adverse issue goes away and you'll have yourself a clean opinion. So if we had it this year, you would have a clean opinion because all the other numbers inside your financial statements were fine. We didn't have any issues with any of it. So, but that's what that means. Okay? The report goes on, it goes on for like 3 or 4 pages of what your responsibility is, what our responsibility is, whether or not we had any issues. So we had no material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies or anything like that. So we did good clean accounting. We were able to get the information out of your general ledger system, report it inside the financial statements without any accounting adjustments that we had to post to the general ledger. So your town accountant did a very good job making sure everything was, shored up and counted properly, and all the adjustments that they felt as though need to be made were made. before we came in. So that's actually very good to go through an audit and not have your auditors say, hey, you need to adjust this account and that account.
That's good.
So that's a very good job in regards to that, okay? So let's go to page 6 on the financial statements, okay? And it's a statement of net position. Now, in a government financial statement, there's 3 bases of accounting that's actually run through your financial statements here. We got the basis of accounting that complies with full generally accepted accounting principles, so it's full accrual basis of accounting, so we recognize what your long-term debt is, what you have invested in fixed assets. So that is the stuff that shows up on the statement of net position on page 6 and the income statement on page 7. These 2 pages are needed in order for us to be able to comply with GAAP. The second level is called modified basis of accounting, and that follows the Massachusetts accounting rules. So it's on more of a cash basis, whereas we recognize revenue when we get the cash, we recognize expenses when we spend the money. Okay, and we don't junk up the balance sheet with long-term fixed assets and long-term debt. Everything is near-term resources that come in and go out. So the modified basis of accounting closely mirrors what you have run through your accounting system, and it closely mirrors with how you budget every year when you set your annual budget, okay? And that basis of accounting is on page 8 and 9. And then the last basis of accounting is a budgetary basis where we compare the budget that you pass to the budgetary revenues and expenses and factoring in all encumbrances and stuff like that, and whether or not you stay within inside the confines of the budget that was approved by the selectmen. And that's the third basis, and that shows up way at the end, so we'll get to that. Okay? So that's kind of the history of the accounting with all of this. So back on page 6, if you will, I know we like to go forward, not backwards. So cash. At the end of the year, what we have sitting inside all of our cash accounts, $3.4 million in cash at the end of the year. We didn't have any issues. We pull a lot of things. We look at all the cash accounts. We look at all the reconciliations. And we didn't notice anything running through your accounts other than what was connected with operating the town. So everything is fine in regards to cash. Okay? Now, we have 2 different categories here, okay? We have governmental activities. That's your general government. That's pretty much your general fund. And will be your governmental funds, like your special revenue funds and trust funds and stuff like that. The business type activities, that's your sewer fund, okay? So that's what those 2 columns represent. So cash, $3.4 million, everything is fine. We got receivables at the end of the year, about $544,000. We do have a note on your receivables, so we'll be able to see what the detail is on that at the end of the year. We do have, you don't have to flip to it, but just so I can give you some context into it. We'll see when we get to it. This is outstanding taxes as of June 30, 2024 now, okay? So real estate taxes, about $85,000. Motor vehicle excise taxes, about $79,000. And we had tax liens and foreclosures going through the lien process, people not, paying their real estate taxes or whatnot, about $204,000. And that, the tax liens and foreclosures actually grew by quite a bit. So I thought the town did a pretty good job in making sure that you stayed on top of your receivables and pushing things through the collection and the lien process to get this cash in the door. So the town did a very good job in fiscal 24 in regards to that. So we saw good increases on that. So I was very good in the town. Then we got these intergovernmental receivables. I'm back on page 6. It's $1.4 million. And what that is that's all of the grants and stuff that we have in regards to our education or any money that's owed us from the federal and the state government. Okay? And there's about $1.4 million outstanding. Everything was current. We also looked beyond the end of your fiscal year to make sure that you actually did collect all of that cash, and everything was fine. So the grants receivable, another term, intergovernmental receivables, was all fine, less than $4 million. And we'll be able to see the detail of where those receivables are in regards to the funds when we get to the later reports. But that was all good. So, okay. Now, capital assets, this is historical cost. So this is all of the money that you shell out for your vehicles, your equipment, your buildings, all that stuff is cumulative, so it's over all the years. which gets recorded to the balance sheet. We track it all in a depreciation software, which I think is Excel, is it?
No, we use Asset Keeper.
Oh, we use Asset Keeper, okay, so yeah, so we use an actual legitimate fixed asset software, so we use Asset Keeper. And then that's net of all of the depreciation expense. And the depreciation expense is just a mechanism to allocate the cost of like equipment over its lifespan, over future accounting periods, okay? But we didn't have any issues with any of that. We did have a lot of additions. Well, we had additions of $1.5 million during the year. And I do have the detail on that. One financial report's not enough, you gotta come with more. I have it here, just give me a second, because there were some big ticket items that you spent. I meant to have this out beforehand.
Can we try to see if I can
Sure.
Not a second.
Travel plan. Cash. Do you remember what the additions were off the top of your head?
There was some vehicles that were purchased during the year. I think there was some work on the school building, there was an elevator that was installed. Those are the biggest.
Okay, so you got
I think
it.
there was some road.
Oh, yeah, okay, so here, okay, I got it.
Yeah, there's a little water repair on there.
Yeah, so we had a snow plow at $7,700, a playground at $16,000, the middle road culvert at $110,000, and the middle road artery project at $1.2 million. Okay? And we looked at a lot of the invoices that were included in those additions, and everything was fine. All the accounting was done very good and reported accurately in the expenses, because that's how you budget for, but for full accrual basis of accounting, we take those expenses, we remove them off of your income statement, and we capitalize onto the balance sheet, and then we depreciate it over its estimated useful life into future accounting periods on how you're going to use it. But that's what made up the big additions there. Okay. Accounts payable, $1.1 million, and that is really high, but it's because of that capital project that we had going on. There was a big invoice connected with one of the capital projects for over $900,000. Okay, but all of those were paid, everything was good. And then long-term debt, the town's done a very good job and just really not holding any debt, to be honest with you. But I think we got about $84,000. As of June 30, 2024, we had $84,000 outstanding. We paid $42,000 down in fiscal '24. The last $42,000, I believe, is being paid in fiscal '26, and then you'll be debt-free for a short period of time. But you made all your debt payments, everything was recorded properly and in line with how you budgeted it, so everything was good there. Okay? So, total assets. $9.4 million minus your total liabilities and obligations of $1.8 million gets us down to a cumulative debt position of $7.6 million. And then you got to break that down into certain buckets, okay? $4 million is what we have tied up inside of all of our fixed assets and equipment. So it's not liquid, right? So you can't liquidate those and pay any of your obligations. Then we got money sitting inside of our capital projects funds. The special revenue fund is really the federal and state grants, school choice and all that stuff, and we have money that comes in from the state, but you got to spend it on very specific things. So that's what that $1.5 million is. And then everything that doesn't fall inside of those restricted categories falls into the last unrestricted category to be able to carry the town forward. And town-wide, it's about $2.4 million of unrestricted debt position. Okay? This will go, then I get past a couple of these pages here, we'll go a little bit faster. Now, page 7 goes landscape, and this is all the revenues and all of the expenses, okay? Now, page 7 is, I wish they would do a little bit better, put it in a setting that made a little bit more sense, but in this case here, they put all the expenses first, and then they apply all the revenues. So we're going to look at the same data if you just turn over to page 9, okay? And because this one here is a really the more logical, I think. On page 8 and page 9, remember, if you were to run your balance sheet and income statement right out of your accounting system, it would match, for the most part, these things here. Okay? So, total revenues for the town, taxation, all taxes, $2.9 million. Grants and state aid, we had about $5.5 million. So total revenues about $8.7 million. Inside the general fund was about $5.3 million. We know that we had a lot of money for capital projects, for the big capital outlays that we had going on, a lot of capital projects that we had. And then the non-major fund column is all your federal, state grants, revolving funds, and whatnot. Okay? Total expenses for the whole town are about $8.2 million. We had transfers in between funds. Where one funding source covered the expenses of another funding source. Everything was fine. Everything agreed like to hide the budget inside the annual town meeting, so everything was okay. So on that change in fund balance, surplus in the general fund of $306,000. Capital projects fund, it's a small deficit, but remember, we had beginning fund balance, so we really were spending current year's revenue plus money that we had received in the prior year that we didn't spend it at that particular time. So it's just crossover fiscal years. So capital project fund and non-major funds, was all fine. Everything was good. So surplus for the town as a whole is $490,000. We look at a lot of things. We did throw out the accounting. We give your accountant and treasurer a hard time. And they did a good job. Everything was recorded good.
So I do have one question for you on this part. So the net change in fund balance is the $490,000. Our free cash came in, was it around 230? So I guess what's the difference between that 490 and the 230 for free cash? I guess where's that?
This here is where you go, if you turn back to page 8, and I'll show you where the free cash is really sitting, okay? So, at the very bottom there, that fund balances, you see, okay? So the net income, and the free cash, remember, you're only looking at the general fund for free cash, because it's the only place where it is. Any of the other stuff, like non-major funds, federal and state grants and stuff like that, that's often in special revenue funds, okay? So free cash would be in connection with the general fund. So the net surplus at the bottom of the general fund on page 9 was $306,000. That $306,000 closes into page 8 inside both the assigned and the unassigned fund balance, okay? So the free cash of that $230,000 is actually inside the unassigned fund balance, okay? So that's kind of where that goes. So that $230,000 is really sitting inside all your cash at that particular point in time. But remember, we got money that going into fiscal, this isn't June 30, 24, okay? Going into fiscal 25, obviously we had free cash, but a vote was made to actually use a lot of that free cash for fiscal 25 based on June 30, 24 numbers. But because that vote was taking place before June 30, we had that reduction, okay? Did I answer your question? I hope it does.
Yeah, no, I just wanted the difference kind of between profit for the year first.
It would be a portion of it.
Okay.
Not 100% of it, but it would be a portion of it. Okay. Kind of moving forward, on page 10, this is really, it's just a reconciliation of going from your fund balance, your modified basis of accounting, so that how we're reporting the numbers on pages 8 and 9 to the full accrual basis of accounting. And those adjustments that are being made is really to capitalize the fixed assets, right? And pay down the debt because we have the debt sitting all on the balance sheet. So it's really just a reconciliation between full accrual basis of accounting and modified basis of accounting. But the adjustments that we make between the two reporting systems is the exact same every single year. It's very consistent. It's fixed assets, debt, and then change in deferred revenue or uncollected taxes. So nothing unusual there. Page 11 and page 12, this is looking at your sewer fund. Okay, so as of June 30, 24, the sewer system had about $265,000 in cash. nothing unusual. But we did have some receivables, well, they're high at $175,000. Remember, this is as of June 30, 24. And we had a management letter comment on it because we felt as though that the receivable balances inside the sewer system were a little too high because we have balances that were connected with 2024, which would make sense. But we also have uncollected balances for 23, 22, 21, and 2020. We pointed this out in the management letter comments, so we'll be able to see it. But the town did a very good job in regards to putting all of the focus and attention on the real estate taxes in the fiscal 24 year. And I was talking with Ron, and now all of the efforts and attentions is really be in fiscal 2025, which is pretty much over and done with. Now a lot of that focus has been put on making sure that those outstanding sewer bills have been collected or attached to the lien process. So we're expecting a much better, smaller number when we do the fiscal 25 audit. Okay.
I have to say something, that was because prior to me, they were never leaned over, so I was
Yes.
3 years
Yeah.
over to the 24 bills, so we don't interact at that time.
Yeah, that was very
So
good.
that's why that number was so high, just simple terms.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Okay. So moving on, page 14, I'll try and speed it up here. These are the notes to the financial statements. They describe all of your accounting policies, how we recognize revenue, what we consider a fixed asset, depreciation expense. We talk about the retirement system that you belong to, and all that. Now, all of the note disclosures and how we account for everything is exactly the same this year as it was last year, so there's no changes in that. So these notes all just correspond to the numbers that are sitting on the balance sheet and income statements that we just went through. So we can bypass a lot of these pages, and we'll get to the most important ones, okay? Let's get to page 21. And 21 at the bottom is your debt. As you can see, we came into the year owing $321,000. We retired $237,000 of principal. We had $84,000 outstanding as of June 30, 24. $42,000 of that was paid in fiscal 25, so we'll owe the last $42,000 in fiscal 26, which is the year that we're in now. Okay? Kind of moving forward, if you go to the bottom of page 25, now, the town belongs to the Berkshire County Retirement System, and the Governmental Accounting Standards Board says that if you belong to a retirement system, you're required to report your proportionate share of their outstanding liability inside your financial statements. So at the bottom of page 25, we got two metrics that we're reporting. The Berkshire County Retirement System, this comes out of their financial reports that we get from them. So the retirement system has a net unfunded obligation of $12.5 million. Our proportionate share of that entire retirement system, the driving number behind all these calculations is payroll, obviously. Our proportionate share is just under 2%, very consistent from year to year. So that 2% of $12.5 million is like $242,000. And GAAP says that we have to record that $242,000 on the face of your balance sheet and recognize that liability, which we do. That's on page 6 there. This information's always been there, though. It's always been included in the notes. It wasn't until maybe 8, 9, 10 years ago that the general accepted accounting principles said, enough is enough. You got to get this stuff out of the notes and onto the face of the balance sheet to start the conversations about making sure that pension plans or OPEB plans get properly funded. So, but that's where it is.
It seems to be the line where it usually creeps up on people.
Yes. Okay, and then I think one of the last reports that I'll go over, just in this report here, is on page 28. Okay? So we report, and this is required information to be included in your financial statements, what the town set for the budget, and then how we stacked up against that budget. And you can see we collected more revenues than what we were originally anticipating. But the most important thing is Massachusetts says that you're not allowed to deficit spend unless you got snow ice deficit or something like that. But if you look down the expenditures column, everything was within a comfortable range of your budget. So that But the town did a very good job staying inside of the budget that the selectmen passed. Okay. And then one last thing, I know I said one last thing before, but, because this is a good remark for the town, I said it once already, but if you go to page 34, and you can see the treasurer, tax collector does a very good job. This is a schedule of your real estate and excise taxes outstanding, okay? And you can look at the 2024 year, we had a tax levy of $2.3 million, the collections of $2.2 million, and outstanding as of June 30, 24 is $69,000. This number has since gone way down. I don't know what it is, but I'm almost positive it did. Because you can look at 23, 22, 21, and 20, it's just a few $1,000. This is, that's still outstanding or whatnot. So, no financial impact, in my opinion, to the town. So, this is a good testament to the town staying on top of its taxes and collecting. And very good job with personal property taxes. And motor vehicles, that's about an 87% collection rate. And when I see across towns, across at least the ones, towns that we go out of, across all of Berkshire County, it flows between 85, 86, 87%. So you're inside the ballpark of any other town in regards to motor vehicle excise taxes. But very good collection on your real estate taxes. Okay, that's that. I got one last report. It's a management letter comment. Usually, towns is end to be last. Okay, go to page 4 on the management letter. These are just recommendations, so they're not findings. They're not significant deficiencies. They're things that we've noted as we're going through, but we feel as though that if the town, put some extra policies and procedures in place or adopted a couple of these things, it just strengthens your internal controls that you already have in place. Okay? The number one item that we had was over the management of the town's grants. When we went through the audit, we didn't have any issues with the final numbers at the end as being reported in the financial statements, but trying to track down some of the grant documents, one piece is over here, one piece is over there.
Those are prior administration.
Yeah, prior administration. So our recommendation is let's put a policy around it, and Joe and I were on right before we gave him a sample policy that you could consider and adopt. And then these items here just kind of look at a little bit of details and, what are the things that, the accountant really, or the grants manager person should really consider in regards to tracking this stuff for a couple of reasons. One is you only really want to take on a grant if you can administer it and you can account for it and you can spend the money. Because town didn't have to return some money, and we don't like to do that. We like to be able to utilize it to the fullest extent. So that was really the biggest item that we caught. We recommended some additional enhancements or some improvements to the turnover process for collection of cash. No big major issue there. Procurement files, number 3 at the top of page 5. We just feel as though that maybe if you're going to, bring the grants management, better track and process to that, let's do the same thing with our procurement files, get everything centralized. And that makes it very easier on the town, makes it much easier on the auditors, have everything in one place. We discussed item number 4 in regards to the sewer receivables. There was, about $96,000 out of $162,000 that was outstanding connected between 2020 and 2023. We already talked about that one. Item number 5 is strictly a clerical, bookkeeping issue in my opinion. But on the Schedule A that's submitted to the Division of Local Services, a portion of the sewer fund was accidentally included in the wrong column, and we just want that change made. We shifted over to the column. The Schedule A in total is fine, so no issues with that. And then item number 6, we do have a student activities fund, and the town can't use any of that money for its own purposes, but it's included inside the governmental funds. And Joe and I just recommend, get it out of governmental funds, get it over to a fiduciary fund, because it can only be used by the students or for their benefit. So that was that one there. And then number 7, which we can work with the accountant and Alana. There's some new accounting pronouncements that came down the pike that go into effect for fiscal 25. Possibly have to look at the compensated absence, so if you have any sick benefits that you pay out, we'll have to probably do a calculation to see how much would be owed at the end of the year, to see if it would be material to have to record that on the balance sheet. Typically, that number has been very small, so it hasn't been included. And there's another GASB that came out that looks about certain things in regards to like risk disclosures, like are you getting money from a certain category or a state or a certain federal government or something that kind of pigeonholes you into one area, that if you lost that one area, it would be detrimental to the town. So we got to look at those types of things. And I think that's pretty much it. So we ought to do it. We're really thankful that we had Donna step in and help us out. So it's very good with the rest of the team. So, good clean report with findings, minus that one OPEB issue, which we're looking at cleaning up.
Yep.
And then we'll be on target to audit fiscal 25, and typically the audits for towns usually start after November 15 for us. So this report here is a little late. We don't want it as late, so we'll try and push it up. So that's pretty much it. So I think the only thing that I need from the selectmen is just a vote to approve everything, and then I'll finalize everything up, send the copies off to Ron, and then we submit the reports to the state.
Make a motion to accept the report as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, you too. It was great working with you, Kelly, and Paula, too.
See you in a couple months.
I know. Come back. Yeah, it was good, you guys.
Should I email you the schedule for 25 hours?
We can look ahead and,
Well, we got many clients that call in, and make sure we're on your schedule.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I finished the show a lot better.
We'll send me a PDF on that grant management, on that sheet we gave you.
Yeah, and we'll also send it to you in Word files. We'll send it to you for some time.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the very detailed report.
Appreciate it.
Very insightful. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Thank you, gentlemen. Take care. Alrighty, next up on the agenda is review the town of Clarksburg financial policy. Zach.
Remember the wrong percent there. I sent it over to you guys to review to see if you guys had any questions on it. This was also a recommendation from the auditors, but I'm not sure why I didn't mention it this time. To just have something set for our finances and policies just moving forward, especially with turnover and different people coming in, and obviously the 4 years every 2 years. Just so the finance committee has something to follow, and you guys do so when you're budgeting and you're reviewing all of these things. Everyone's kind of on the same page and have some guideline, and maybe just a little bit of better understanding of governmental
No, I
policy.
think it kind of eliminates the interpretation or gray area issues, I guess, that usually come up on
And like I
financial
said,
policies.
they added the grant policy, so we'll review that, I'll add that in there, and send it out to you guys. So basically, you guys would approve this financial policy, and then we will present it also to the finance committee. For their opinion, and, it could be a work in progress, we can make edits and tweaks to it at any time that it has our numbers, it's a little, it's not consistent just because of the turnover that was in this office with the cash and things like that, and records. But I think moving forward, it'd be good for every department to review it and stay consistent and policy and procedures.
Do we have a financial policy previously?
No, there was one drafted. Honestly, I didn't even look at it, just because I don't
That's fine.
think it was
Yeah.
done correctly in the past. So, is very similar to actually other towns, especially those that we live there. And that was done professionally by, and obviously I wasn't sure who it was, but a lot of it is similar to their financial policies.
Do we need to have anyone review this, or we keep the law or the audit company to make sure that, I guess, what we put in here is in compliance?
Maybe the auditors, that's who recommended it, they can, I'm sure put their opinion in it, but I don't know that, ask that today.
If you want to send it back to the auditors, I have a position approval on that.
What do you think, so we're just not kind of, also leave it around, I know we're working off of other approved ones, but
And we can send it over to the auditors, and we'll be clear that, hey, we need to go to the.
And honestly, a lot of it is just Mass General law, that's just pretty much printed out in the policy procedure, like anything that we do is just Mass General law, chapter this and section that, it all is in there in the guidelines to follow under those Mass General laws.
excellent. So I think we have a grant policy,
I think we're in my office.
and then we'll add that to it, and we'll get that off to the auditors for the,
We'll show them over the word so we can critique it for us, some generalities, but we can critique it for us. And it's a good policy to follow. We had no policy before, so like he said earlier, there's no reason to ever return to grant.
No.
You get the grants, I grant get the grants, you got to manage them. That's what it comes out to. So, and we're trying to make it actually right to make sure we actually correctly get reports in on time.
I just go,
Wait a minute, Jay, I just want to thank the treasurer's office and the county office for the jobs they do each and every day, because they keep the rules terrible. So, thank you.
well, thank you very much, it was a great report we had at that, and let me continue moving forward.
Run like that, and I spoke to him about, stabilization accounts. He said we should run between 5 and 15% of our total budget. So, in the past, we applied free cash to buy major purchases. I think in the future, I think next year, I was going to run another truck. I think we should finance it out. We take as much free cash as we can to stay in stabilization. Just for a rainy day, a call it a rainy day fund. You never know what's going to happen. So,
I agree.
and also, I should include the accessory, because the accessory office did a good job.
Oh, thanks.
So is there anything you would act on for this at all, or?
No, I think what we'll do is I'll take I think that one we can include in
Yeah,
there.
so basically if you guys are approving it and I'm just drafting it, but we can approve this as of today, and then when we get the grant policy procedures in the book, we'll just have no meeting and finalize just that one part of it, if that's okay with you guys.
So maybe, so I think, excuse me, but I think we should have finance there too at the same time. If you want me, you guys can approve it all. If you want, that's up to you. But
Yeah, whatever, I mean, finance committee doesn't approve it, the select board does, the finance committee. So.
you can approve this as it is today.
so I'll make a motion to approve this draft as read.
You abstain?
So,
All good? All right, I think we're getting ready to go into our interviews.
yeah, I'll go get the first one is Ramon Messer.
Are we going
We can take a break here.
I'm having
I'm good, how are you guys?
So we have Ramon.
I feel like it's planned, like you're both in blue, you're both in white.
Just say it wasn't. Just say it wasn't.
Anyone else need water while I take favorites?
Thank you.
Water?
Thank you, Kelly, I appreciate that.
No, I just want to be able to hear better.
She's on that list. She didn't say, I thought you told me he's running once a month. I said, no, it's only a week. It wasn't. My schedule gets a little booked out. Your molecule is wrong, you're working for the diagnosis. I need to know my rush. It's going down my rush. The replays of this. Pete, do you ever find out if yours we got or what?
No real way to know.
No.
I mean, you can see views online.
Do we crack double digits or?
I've never looked.
I will say that was good, when I first got on, I went back and I watched like 6 months.
No, it's not.
6 months of meetings before I just started.
Did you take a look at the office? Huh? Did you take a look around the offices? No. What did you want?
Full battery and redone.
Well, I noticed there was plants that had door guard that one right there.
The ZZ Sit, door water, like door light water. Once a year, if anything. Once a year? Well, I'm not even joking. You could take that thing and put it in your closet, forget about it, and it will continue to grow. I'm not even joking. If you water it, it will die. I'm not even joking.
This direction, it's really good, because I don't even know.
My house is in a little jungle, like I have trees all over my house all the time, like, and then like the one over that you put in the corner when you first open the left, that definitely needs a bigger pot.
Yeah, she's supposed to come in every pot and.
And if someone's taking care of it.
No, not doing it, it's just coming in and do it. That's where they are.
Yeah, okay, is she gonna take care of them?
No, we'll have to take that.
Okay.
Once they're required.
Don't order that one, and the lilies, you'll know when they need water, because they'll start to get droopy. You're gonna want to wait, so you don't overwater. I don't know anything about that plan I don't have.
You want this stuff off?
I wonder why. It's very cute. I don't have that in my house. I might have to see if I can steal a little branch, propagate it, start a little baby at home. And go.
Behind you. For two. This is a place in which you purchase. There are behind there. Yes, I noticed. I did that today with Michelle. Very nice. So people didn't think you died. In the uniform. Yeah, we don't want people to think you died, so they put the retirement on as well. Here's what you got in here, I do have to say.
What should I say? Okay, sounds good. Never been interviewed by a select board before, so me if I'm slightly nervous.
We're nice and relaxed, so it's all good.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So applying for our assessor position.
I am.
What made you interested in this position?
Look, I'm going to be perfectly honest here. I was looking at jobs because I work at the city of Pittsfield, and I'm a real estate girl. I love real estate, corporate estate planning, transactional law stuff. And my job turns out to be mostly code enforcement, filing lawsuits and all of these punitive measures, so I'm unhappy. And I have a lot of nonprofit experience, so at first I was looking for nonprofit management positions, and then I saw this assessor position, and as I read through it, I'm like, oh my God, this is my dream job. Like I said, I love real estate, and I'm a numbers girl.
I think that's under 2 months.
It really is. I used to own my own title
examination business, I still have a select few clients, which are actually major title insurance companies. I do work for First American, for Stewart Title, and I had to scale back because it just became too popular, and I wear a lot of hats. I'm the bookkeeper for my husband's business, I do his marketing, my husband's a general contractor, even on weekends sometimes I'm doing contracting work, and so it just became too much to try and run the title business as well. And I absolutely adore real estate, and I like numbers, I like things that require an attention to detail, I like keeping track of things and data and relying on data, and I like working in a smaller place too. The law firm where I was the happiest at, I was there for almost 9 years. It was just 5 of us, 2 paralegals, 1 administrative assistant, and 2 attorneys. I really enjoyed it there. The only reason I left is I finished my bachelor's degree. I sought my bachelor's degree with the goal of going to law school eventually, but I wanted to try different things before committing to 4 years of part-time law school and a whole lot of money. And so I went to a CPA firm. I enjoyed it until tax time hit. Tax time is not fun. It is 6-7 days a week, 12-hour days of only taxes. I liked forensic accounting, I liked estate tax returns, nonprofit assistance, but I'm not a big fan of 12-hour days of taxes. And so that led me to the city where I'm just generally unhappy, and it's also due because it's so large, the departments are disconnected, and I like working in a smaller place, so I'm hoping this can be a place where I could grow for a really long time.
Excellent. Now, so you don't have any certifications for any assessing?
I don't, unfortunately. I looked at course 101, I looked at the handbook. The first chapter I could recite in my sleep, anything to do with real estate. When I tell you I love real estate, I'm legitimately a real estate expert, not to toot my own horn, but I even represent title insurance companies in that regard. With the rest of it, I don't know anything about mass appraisals or anything like that, but I am a quick study. I've achieved 2 4.0s. I finished my bachelor's degree with a 4.0. I finished my paralegal certificate with a 4.0. Anything that I want to learn, I'm more than capable of learning it and learning it quickly at that. I already looked into how the position works, how it's coordinated between the town, the residents, and then the DOR, their local assessments bureau. I looked at the forms, the local assessment forms. I mean, none of it seems like it would be difficult for me to pick up very quickly. And I did see that it requires 24 months on the job before you can be certified after you complete the courses and pass the tests, of course. But that there is a waiver program, so I would hope, the worst thing I could say is no, but I would apply for a waiver once I took all the courses, which I would jump right into, that maybe with my real estate experience, that they would maybe waive the 24-month requirement so I could become certified even sooner than the 24 months.
I know the current assessor has a question.
I didn't know what was 24-month requirement. Is that something the town put on there? For the course 101?
No, course 101 has to be completed in a year. In order to become certified after you've completed all the courses.
One thing in 24 months is what they said. It is physically impossible to get your MMA in 24 months. They only offer the courses twice a year, and you can only take 1 course during that course time. There's 5 to 6 courses, so it does take usually 3 to 4 years to complete it.
When I was reading the DOR website, it did say that there were online courses in a long time.
Yeah, I think it's more of a town thing. So if you finish the Gateway, the DLS course 101 through Gateway, you're pretty much certified to be an assessor. And then for as far as the Massachusetts, the MAA goes, it's whether or not the town adopts it and how long they're giving you to get your certification to be an assessor in Massachusetts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Your website had a little bit of conflicting information from that.
Yes, okay, so I was...
But you certainly know it better than I was reading the DOR website.
That was my only question.
No, she's an expert.
Yeah, I certainly believe it was on the DOR website.
Assessor, but with other positions, it does take some time with the classes and the, but of course, having that full certification, that's something, if you're hired for it, we want you to work towards, getting it, but it's not like a, strict, like, you have to have it right now, like you were saying. Well, kind of, you would move forward with the 101.
And I would do that immediately.
Yeah, that's all would be needed to kind of get going in the position, so.
If I could have, I would have already started it, actually, but I can't until I'm in an assessor position because it's conducted through the gateway.
No problem. And then, so as an assessor, sometimes, you come about some difficult, client customers, that you're talking about possibly is, bringing their assessment up, which will return them paying more money. Like, do you have any issue with, working with difficult people, or I guess having thick skin to be able to handle, someone with a bad attitude?
Not at all. In the city solicitor's office for the city of Pittsfield, I certainly get some difficult people already. I get blamed for potholes. You would not believe what I get blamed for in that office. I find that the best way to deal with people is just first acknowledge their concerns. Just, I understand when you're concerned, don't be argumentative, smile, diffuse the situation, use I statements instead of you statements, and I'm very good at de-escalating situations. And I do have thick skin if somebody doesn't like me because their assessment fairly went up, it is what it is.
Excellent. Cole, do you have any questions?
No, you definitely seem very eager, very motivated, very driven. I think it would be a hard transition. I think, especially if you got some real estate background already. I think if anything, we'd be working hand in hand with Emily, I think, over the next few months to obviously transition and kind of go that route. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
I just have a couple comments and then just one small question. You definitely have done your homework. I'm not a real estate expert, so you guys, the way you're talking, you've obviously done your homework, you're knowledgeable. I don't have a question about you having a thick skin, working, preparing lawsuits and things like that. I'm sure that was taken into account. You don't think that first I'm wondering, will this be busy enough for you? Is this going to be something that can keep your interest? You're looking for the smaller office, smaller community. This is that. This is definitely going to be that. It's going to be that. And I just want to make sure that the commute to a smaller office and a smaller venue is something that you definitely are interested in.
I am certainly interested in it, and in fact, I actually have a dream of moving out of Pittsfield and living in a smaller community too, so that would be soon to follow. We are actually in the middle of remodeling our fixer-upper we bought. It's close to done. I should be able to have it sold in about October, November, and once that's sold, I would actually like to relocate somewhere smaller.
Thank you.
Sorry, I don't remember.
It's okay. Hi, nice to meet you.
If they were to move forward with hiring you, do you have a certain date that you would be available to start?
I would just like to give a 2-week notice. I don't like to burn bridges, but from the job offer, 2 weeks from that date, I would be able to start.
Excellent. Emily, do you have any questions?
Any other couple of questions? Sure. Well, actually, I have one mostly. You may have to do inspections. Are you going to be comfortable going into people's houses?
I would be very comfortable with that. Actually, it's a part of what I look forward to. I am a general contractor's wife. I go into people's houses to help them all the time. And I actually like seeing additions and new construction because I have a little bit of knowledge in that and those for ideas as well for us too.
Yeah.
Well,
Me?
yeah.
Well, I'll talk for a little bit. So I love your energy. You're never going to get the perfect candidate, right? But I think you have the ability to be successful in this role. There's a small little organization. You all work tight. You're able to work with others. I know you can work with others anyways, but we have a small thing here, and we have a good thing going here. And I just want to be sure that you will find everybody, but I like your energy, and I like your background, so, that's, like I said, never get perfect specimen.
I wish I had that certification.
You can do that. You can do that. You have a drive, you can do anything, so, but yeah, thank you very, very much. It was nice to meet you.
It was very nice to meet you all.
And just to let you know too, Emily, so she's willing to stay on and help out, until the end of the calendar year. So you just wouldn't be thrown into this.
That's awesome. That was one of my big questions.
What you're doing doing, what the next steps are, she would be kind of in the background to help assist and, guide you in the right direction, and kind of, keep you on the right track, and, I'm glad that, if I overspeak, but she's been great, she's doing a great job for us, and, we're sorry to see her go, but she's moving on to, bigger things, and
Congratulations.
you know, we're not, so.
Yeah, and just know that the hours are Monday through Thursday.
Yes.
It's not here Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
And they're really flexible too.
Yeah, it's really flexible. Yeah, if you have things you can do or something, it's,
That's
we
awesome.
all work together, don't we?
That sounds exactly like the firm where I was at for almost 9 years. We also had Fridays off, which really created a big difference in the work-life balance. I mean, that's...
And like the other said, we have flexibility here, so if you need to do something, you can do it, so.
Awesome.
Excellent, I think we answered all the questions, unless anyone else has anything else?
We have, local interviews tonight, I have 2 more on Monday night, and I think after that, the board will get together and we'll make a decision, so.
Okay.
We'll get something in place sooner than later.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for coming and meeting with us, and it was great to meet you.
Thank you all. It's my pleasure.
If you have any questions, feel free to email me.
Okay, will do. And same, if you guys have any follow-up questions that come up, feel free to reach out to me too. Great, nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you too.
Assessor and then
Interest.
assessor and then
Interested in our assessor's position?
I am.
Excellent. So do you have any current assessing experience?
I do not, but as I told Ron, I'm a quick learner. I'm very interested in the position and looking to find I'm 55, so I'm looking to find my career and stick with it until, I probably die on the desk.
Are really interested in this assessor position?
Well, I worked at the city of Pittsburgh, so I'm so sorry I didn't expect to be here. So for the city of Pittsburgh, and I've been interested in the assessor's positions down there when they've opened up. Sadly, I didn't go for it. The job that I have now is with the ARPA project, so that's, I'm sure you know, the American Rescue Plan Act, and I love my job, but it's ending at the end of 2026. I'm starting to freak out, so I'm trying to plan ahead. But I do love what I do though, and that's why I didn't go for any positions over the assessor's office in Pittsfield at this point.
how do you think your experience, overseeing the special projects for ARPA, how do you think that translates into the assessor position?
Sorry, I had no idea it was going to be like with everybody. So I do a lot of different things. I'm sorry, I'm so nervous.
There's nothing to be nervous about.
I'm able to do a lot of things at once, but the job that I do now is, we do, it was a $40+ million grant that we received, so, and I pay all the invoices and make sure the files are in order, sorry. So, I just feel like I can multitask, I
in the city, in the, you know, anybody that comes in, it's just, I don't know, so that's all I got right now.
How do you feel you can handle situations, you know, with residents that are, you know, unhappy about, you know, assessment increase that, you know, call up or, you know, face to face, you know, kind of irate? How do you feel about those situations and how you can handle that?
Well, I would, try to, you know, keep it calm and, take time to listen to them. That's most of the biggest problem I think they have, is they don't feel like they're listened to. And then just try to go through the process and make them understand why it is what it is.
You know, with this position, you know, you have to get some certifications for it. Do you have any issue with, you know, going to schooling for it?
I don't know, no. I've actually been debating going back to school anyways, so.
Any other questions for us?
No, I'm too nervous to enter now, so.
I know it's going to be a little intimidating.
I'm so sure I would know there's going to be 2 people. Tell them that. Lie warned me. He knows that I'll scare them away. That's why he doesn't say anything.
I would say this, I don't mean anything, just, if you get home tonight and there's questions you have for us, you can whatever, you can just shoot us an email or refer to the line and get forward to this point. Just,
So,
it's never easy sometimes, in a situation like this, you know, but really, you know, this job, you know, people's job in so many ways, because you're in contact with people all the time. You're going to meet people that are nice and you're going to meet people that are right? So it's just how you handle yourself within that structure. And also it's important too is to deal with within the system that we have here. But I think that all of this pretty by yourself. It's a change because we took that position from a part-time position and then into a full-time position. Because I think that the value that it carries in revenues to this town is very important. So I want you've really got a great personality, first of all, which is I think is very important. Always have a positive attitude. You can get anything done, put your mind to it. There's a lot, and that when you do run that research company, probably run and what's involved in getting your certification and everything else. But you know, there's a lot there, but it's a very, very important position in this town. Every position in this building is very important, but especially up there because you can create revenue flow that we haven't seen here in a long time. You can attest to that, right? There's a lot of building goes on in this town, a lot of building permits and everything else. So we need to make people accountable and create revenue. And that's what this whole process is about. We gamble to bring it to a full-time position, but I really felt in my heart that it will pay for itself. So we need that individual that's driven and never be nervous. You know, never be nervous. We're here to support you. Absolutely.
So, back on the, dealing with irate people.
Yeah.
So it started out with the city almost 5 years ago in the health department during COVID. So, yeah, so irate is not even, doesn't even come close to the people I had to deal with, especially when the vaccine came out. Everybody, you know, everybody wanted it, nobody cared, you know. I had a guy actually call one time that he was so mad that the elderly got it before him because they're gonna die anyways. Like, this, yeah, or is it not? So I'm used to dealing with people like that.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's a lot of nice people too, that was,
There's some nice ones out there too.
yes, yes.
Kelly, you guys have any questions?
This is the same question. I was hoping maybe someone would catch on. You may have to go into people's homes and do inspections. That it can be scary. You know, that's, you know, is that something, you know, is that something to think about? Yep, absolutely. No problem.
So the banjo man.
And my only question was, with you was going to work your job coming to an end in 2026, would you stay on continuing that project, finalizing that, and do this at the same time, and so would you be able to manage the way? So my thought
thought was because we're winding down and all the funds have been distributed, well, they have been placed where they're gonna go. So I'm still paying invoices and, but my plan was to offer them on like a part-time, like a little bit to help them out because they're not really gonna get to come in for less than a year and a half. Yeah. You know, and if I can do it part-time, like I work from home on Fridays, so I can still help them out. Yeah. So that, not on a full-time basis, but I would try to, because I love my boss, you know, and yeah, I love my boss, and she would totally free. Yeah, no, because it's just her and I, especially if it's coming to it. Right, she works in New York, and is lucky enough to be able to retire when this is over. Yeah. So, some years now. Yeah, exactly, so.
Excellent. Any other questions?
You guys had the same favorite questions, you said you all covered it already, so.
No, I'm kidding.
Well, thank you very much for
Thank
coming
you.
to us.
I'm so nervous. Nice to meet you all. Take care. I thought he told you. You didn't tell me it was going to be 8 people. I just got the looks.
Emily, I have a question for you. While we're transitioning into, you're still wanting to do that, you're still getting the parking.
Yeah, and I would still do the tax classification.
Like, how many hours do you think?
It's only one of the next agenda items that we have.
Still the hours if like if they were to offer that.
Is this one for the one that just passed, is that for the administration? Yes. Monday night?
I don't know.
Do you have a copy of those resumes over?
She sent me all to you.
It's very
Well, there's a couple of things, I was actually, before we move on to something else, can I bring up a couple of things? Okay, one, I'm not coming to Monday's inspection, so I would write down that they may have to walk in people's houses.
Okay.
Ask that, that is, to me, that's a big thing, if you're not willing to walk, you know, and there, I'm not gonna lie, there are some scary ones in Clarksburg, and you can, what's that, No, not worse. I've been chased off of properties in Pittsfield with bats and other things, so no, it's not nearly as scary. But another thing no, I lost my train of thought.
Thinking about replacing Pittsburgh.
Would you be training on Saturdays?
Yes, thank you. So, whoever you do decide to bring on, I was hoping that maybe, because you could still give them the 3 days off, like maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then maybe they could come in on Sundays with me. So then if they do have questions, and then I know hours and obviously budgeting, can be a challenge. So, if I have to do less and only work Sundays, I will do that. However, I don't know if the new person would be, I'm going to try to train them as much as I can to get as much done for the state for the end, for the end of this year. But I may have to work more from home to meet those guidelines.
Right.
So, I will do the best I can with, with the transition and trying to pawn some stuff off. But my biggest part is mostly going to be to train them the basics, how to code a deed, how to put it in, stuff like that. I never learned excise maintenance here, so I don't know if your plans are to have the clerk still do assessing stuff, or if your plan is to have, because it is full time now, they probably could just do everything that is required of an assessor. So I don't know what is entitled to that, or what.
And this is also directed to me and to Emily, but while she has that availability to train with that new person coming in, do you think I'd be able to cross-train, and you think that's an okay thing to do, to also learn that? So if something was to happen like this again, at least there's somebody that knows multiple areas in an emergency situation, or like just recently I just got access to Patriot and entered those deeds, but that's what she's talking about, the coding in there and classifying those deeds to make sure, one, I'm actually helping and doing it the correct way, and not creating any more work. I'm actually helping, not
it's not easy. I need a printer, I need 2 screens, and like, so on Sundays, I've already been coming here on Sundays and plugging in 5 or 6 hours, or, you know.
That would be the day.
But that would be the day. Yes, I don't like driving here from Pickering. I'm not one. I don't like driving. I know some people drive 3 hours to their job. That's not me. I've always driven 5 minutes, and I don't like driving an hour and a half from there to here, and then I have to drive an hour home. It's just I don't I don't want to do it. So hey, for some people love it. I don't. My Jeep does not love it. My Jeep needs work in the front end, and you know, and now. You know, yeah, so like every time I'm driving, I'm like, just don't blow up on me, like, you got this, you know? It's just, it's taking a toll on mostly the car, and nobody pays for the gas, I gotta pay for that too.
Ron, I don't know if you were in here, but I was talking about when she's training that new person, or when she was here on Sundays, like, literally from now until we fill the spot, if I could cross-train with that person, to learn part of the assessing system. One thing, if you guys do say yes, I would not want to do it for free because I have dedicated a lot of my time. And I don't know if the assessor's clerk salary, you know, that's another conversation probably for another time, another meeting, but I just kind of want to put that out there that I would like to cross-train and learn that during this time.
There's one about this, and I think she brings up a very, very important cross-training. I think for such a small group of people, I think it's very important, not to know every facet, but to be able to jump in and help.
I think my only concern with that, and especially because we're picking up with the audits, is we have to be very careful of what you're doing and how much of it. Like, some things you are not allowed to do, and some things for your job I am not allowed to
I
do.
think it's more reading bills and changing bill numbers, but like entering deeds and things like that, like that's all
information
that's all in the company anyways. But I know in emergency situations, like if we don't put this in right away, someone can step in to do that during that time. Even if we hire a new person and they don't work out, and we have to go through this process again, at least there's someone that can help enter information and not be in a spot where we're going to be more of a mess and not being able to get our tax rate certified or anything like that moving forward.
So it's in the budget for assessor's clerk.
So we budgeted for an assessor and an assessor's clerk.
Yeah. So the administrative assistant position is half administrative assistant, half clerk. But again, I asked Rochelle how many hours she actually put in that duty. Some maybe an hour, sometimes a little bit more, depending on what you have to do. So, you know, so we have money there. Okay. But not really. Well, we do and we don't, but because we work for the administrative position. Okay. And I strongly feel that administrative position is a very low position. She does a lot of things. I had to do more things since I became town administrator than Carl did. I got to involved in a lot more things, which is good, right? You learn a lot. So, you know, I think it's important in the interim
To someone in the short term.
It would definitely be in the short term, and it would be like that, a set amount, it would be an hour thing, which is coming in on Sundays, and it wouldn't be the whole entire time. It would just be while she's training. Once we have a full-time assessor, like if we're just training on Sundays, or just getting information, that's what I'm just asking for the time to be in here.
I'm really looking for compensation wise.
Just my hourly rate.
Hourly rate.
And if you think about it, the 2 weeks that it's going to take someone to come in and Rochelle, there's definitely money in there.
I think it's important because we need to say,
I'm not opposed, I'm just asking.
I feel, and I've said this all along, we need to stay consistent here. We can't, I understand the position we're in now. I don't want to fall behind. So there's things that she can do to keep us relevant.
Yeah, you know, if 8 Sundays from here on out, just an example, and it takes us 2 weeks, someone give 2 week notice, and Rochelle's already gotten that assessor's clerk salary, available. I'm just saying.
We're gonna be in between, even in her position, she was next Thursday. By the time I get someone in here, it's gonna be.
And I've already been doing less, if you think about it. I don't know, I'm not even pulling in the hours I was before. So there's less of that almost that.
We need a motion. Yeah, we're come over here. We can't even go send us a vice chair. Well, he's got a stand there, that's right. So I would go with, make a motion out of that. I'll make a motion to approve the classroom of treasurer, tax collector, no lessons in position of assessor's clerk. I'll second the motion.
Thank you.
All vote? Aye. Abstaining. Forecast.
Thank you. I just have to learn no more, misunderstood it all.
I'm gonna convert you. You're gonna be an assessor. I'm just kidding.
If they had started offering more money than me, I would do that.
Close that thing, she's just going. Last check out there, we'll move on, just review and approve cemetery lot sale, section D, lot 149, Fort Braves to Kevin Hughes. Make a motion to approve. All favor? Next one. Review or approve cemetery lot section D, lot 51A, one grave to Arthur Platt. Motion to approve. Second. All favor? Aye. Review and approve meeting minutes from 5:15, 5:27, 6:2, 6:16, 7/7, 2025. I have a couple small little amendments on it, but just a couple of little table fixes on it, so. I make a motion to approve the minutes as amended. Second. All in favor? Aye. It's efficient. So I'll say, I don't tell you where we're going down here, but I still don't know what those is. Oh, we're gonna get you. Go to the shower after that. Shower, right? Hey, thanks for showing up. You good?
Is this the last thing on the agenda?
Yes.
Where am I sitting?
This process needs to be very,
Was everybody doing?
Cold neighbors.
being hospital, we met 4 or 5 years ago, I showed the apartment around Wheezy Street.
Yes,
So that-
yeah, you did, I remember that. So do you have copies of my resume?
Do.
Okay, awesome, because I did bring extras just in case.
So, when you're interested in the administrative position,
Yeah, so I was checking out the job posting earlier today, and I just feel like a lot of what is required of this position aligns with what I'm already doing currently. Also, I've lived in Berkshire County my whole life, went away to school at Quinnipiac in Hampton, Connecticut, came back home and figured I would start working in the Berkshires. Since I've been working at my current position at Clarksburg Meeting, I've just realized that I really want to get a little bit more involved in the community. I'm also ready to take on a lot more from what I'm doing currently on my day-to-day tasks, and I just think that this would just be a great opportunity for me to kind of expand my horizons and kind of see what the Berkshires has to offer.
so with this position, you pretty much be reporting directly with Ron, assisting him with his day-to-day tasks, including residences that come in, keeping an eye on the town email, helping with updates to the town website. He knows a lot more than that. Posting legal notices. So you'd also be kind of assistant to the select board also, with saying how to set the agenda. If we have any requests, they can reach out to this person, so you'd be assisting us with anything we need also.
So yeah, that kind of sounds a lot of like what I'm doing currently.
Carbondale, we have a lot of different websites that we manage, so at Berkshires.com being one of them, Berkshire Jobs also being one of our primary sources. And a lot of times I'm required to reach out to new clients that advertise with us or that are posting on our website a lot just to help them through it. And so that requires a lot of cold calls, emails that go out to people that I've never met, but it's always just kind of maintaining that friendly demeanor and just kind of being super helpful to whatever they need.
In this situation, what's I might encounter unhappy resident that's coming complaining about a pothole or taxes or the assessment on the house, or many other possible things that
Could be anything.
do you have any issues, I guess in those situations where dealing with unhappy people?
So I don't have an issue with that at all. I actually have to deal with that on a daily basis usually. Whether it's an article that we have posted where a caller calls in and they're upset with something or they email in and want something changed. It's just a matter of mediating and trying to be helpful, be understanding to that person and figure out solutions to the problem that they have.
Excellent.
No, qualification-wise, I think it really, we've got a good, vast amount of experience, I think, across the board. Another one of our applicants tonight, seem eager, seem energetic to work within the confines of the building here. Obviously, ones, I think, taking the town administrator position to a level which I think we're very appreciative of, very thorough, very professional in the way he operates. Obviously, Kelly running our tax collector and that department. It's maybe a small group here. It's kind of a little town family, I guess per se. It's good opportunity, and it's good to see people apply. So no, I don't really have that.
So I have a few comments or a few questions. Definitely, it seems like personality-wise, you're going to deal with people all day. It's very personable. And we are, like he was saying, Ron is really trying to take the office and make it the office. So I know, as a selectman, we really emails, phone calls, all that kind of stuff, really communication with us. It really demanding, more than likely. It seems like we've had experience with that. But again, Dan's talking about the people coming in. It's their lives, so it'll probably be a little bit of flavor in the commercial workers now. But as long as we can maintain that personal demeanor with them, that's going to be a big part of it for sure. Definitely with just emails, the phone calls, really answering and helping out a lot of the people in the office. So it will be demanding, and we are definitely trying to move forward at kind of a new pace with everything. So as long as you think that's something you can keep up with, and I really put that real energy into it, I think it could be a good fit. Do you think that's something that you're taking on?
Yeah, for sure. So apart from my daily tasks, from what I'm used to, a lot of times I'll have different departments coming up to my desk and asking me for favors, whether it's, our editorial department asking me to make a quick change on a story that they can't get to, or if it's an advertising representative that needs a statistics report right away within a couple of hours, or if it's, filling out our weekly sales report each week. I'm responsible for all of that and maintaining all of that. Also while, answering phone calls, getting paperwork done, sending it to the right department. So I'm super fine with jumping around and being helpful wherever I'm needed, while also maintaining what I'm responsible for on a daily basis.
That's good. Not many people are able to.
Right now. I mean, I try to maintain a positive demeanor and a happy smile on my face. I figure that, contributes to the environment, and maintaining that would hopefully spread to others as well.
Is there any issues with working, an evening a couple times a month to take our meeting minutes? Pretty much Michelle's our current administrative assistant, and she's just kind of jotting down our notes and responsible for carrying out our meeting minutes. So there is possibly some requirement of a couple minutes so it's a lot longer than we usually have, but usually just short, it could be, a half hour, to an hour and a half usually.
Yeah, that's not an issue at all. So like I said, I'm responsible for doing our reports for our weekly sales every week, and then also following that up with an email that goes out to our entire office of our minutes from what we covered in that meeting. So that's not really an issue at all.
Excellent. Any questions for us?
Yeah, so I was looking at the job posting that you guys put up. There was one section that did mention about having frequent interruptions, which we kind of touched on a little bit earlier. Are there some kind of examples maybe that you could give of what that looks like? Or I know you kind of said maybe just people in the public coming up, but what about like internally in the office? What kind of tasks are?
In that position, Michelle will tell you about them too, is you have to be able to multitask.
You're the face, like you're the first person they're gonna see because you're gonna be right in the front. So like, I think more or less like that's the interruptions. Maybe Michelle could probably.
Yeah, just like if you're focusing on something, like getting all the bills paid or your turnover is done or anything, like if someone walks in, they're gonna go right to you. That's all, really. There's nothing like major.
Yeah, and you can always like direct, well, sometimes obviously for me, and they just don't come in and get access to my office. So, and Michelle still takes them, but you can just send
They avoid her.
send them over. They can grab it.
Sometimes later in the afternoon, Kelly leaves, and then there's an hour or so after that point where people come in to pay excise taxes, so she handles their payments.
LTC applications.
Yeah, applications. Yeah, there's a lot of things, there's a lot of different things. I like that you're strong on Microsoft Office, Google, all those things are important because what I'm trying to do here too is I'm trying to market this town a little bit differently. I have entertainment.
There's a social media now.
What?
No, I did not.
I do the Facebook.
That's more
She
curiosity.
does little website postings.
It's fine. I just wanted to say you have experience with social media,
Yeah,
so.
so I actually was going to ask about that because it did mention something about maintaining the social media, which I have tons of experience in. Like I said, I'm maintaining multiple websites for our umbrella company, Clarksburg Meeting, right now. So every single day I'm making job postings using Canva. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, like an online kind of art tool to create different social media ads, or even print ads, like print flyers is something that's an option as well. I'm also very well versed in email marketing, so collecting a list of emails and being able to send out a newsletter to the people who sign up for that is something that I'm also well versed in. So apart from doing that for Boxcar Media, I also have on here that I am responsible for that for what's called the GOAT now. It was formerly Mingo's. I work closely with the owner every week where she sends me material that she'd like in the newsletter, and then I'm responsible for putting that all together and making it look very nice and understandable, readable, and just having her approve whatever is sent out before it goes out to almost 1,000 people.
I do enjoy getting that Wednesday email blast.
Yep, that's me. That's me. Yep.
Open to review and pick up the administration.
Yeah, for sure, not a problem.
I will leave you to review after vote.
Well, I don't think so, only because they purchased that through Boxcar Media, so I probably wouldn't continue that for
That's
us.
actually much more that's a big part of it, like on set kind of like, so that's really, because you're not down, everybody.
Services that she has to post to, she'll have like,
Well, it's,
for the public postings.
And using back ends of websites, administration sides, I'm okay with doing that too, and picking up on new software and everything.
It's
Yeah, our website is some major.
pretty well. Well, you know, that's a bad thing, we'll get on the extra stuff.
I did an internship out in California for my senior year of college in 2017, and I had never met these people before. I was just kind of like a little fish jumping into big water. It was a celebrity booking agency, and they taught me a whole software system called FileMaker on Apple, where I was responsible for subbing in managers, PR people for really like A-list celebrities. So keeping that confidentiality I was entrusted with, and also being able to understand that software, which I picked up in about like 2 or 3 weeks.
Michelle, do you have anything to add?
And are you a 2-week notice to start, or is there anything else that?
Yeah, I would probably give in a 2 or 3 week notice depending on what kind of the transition would have to look like. But yeah, 2 to 3 weeks max.
I think it's fine to get more interviews on Monday.
Yeah, and after Monday, I think that's pretty much the pool. And we'll get together after Monday night and if everything together, and hopefully make a decision on both. Yeah. I think positions.
Yeah, that was actually going to be one of my next questions is, if we proceed to move forward, is what can I expect for the interview process next? So when about what I hear from you, David?
Yeah, it's next, we have a meeting on Monday night, right? So we have the interviews on Monday. I think after the interviews, I think we can all take some time to get together. We won't be here. Yeah, we can communicate through phone.
I'd say like Wednesday next week.
Yeah, we're going to plan on meeting next week, possibly tomorrow night, to discuss both positions that we want to do.
Yeah, because Michelle's last day on Wednesday, so next Thursday. So, again, we got a staff here that works very well together. So it's important that we'll be involved with Kelly.
I think I can get along.
Right, I was going to say, so I would be training under you, it sounds.
Not kidding, I mean, I know a little bit of the position.
Marilyn Yellow, our state clerk, was helpful too. She understands some of
I
things.
actually didn't know Michelle's position, but like, she's like knowledge spreadsheets and things like that, so I probably would be helping with that, I'm not in that.
That's probably the only downside is that you'll be trained by yourself.
Okay. I mean, I'm used to kind of being able to set up my own system on things and figuring out what works best for me. So, yeah, having that transition probably wouldn't be an issue.
I think it's so important, like Kelly said, you're the face, you're the first person in this, so it's very, very important, and impressions are lasting, how you approach somebody and this and that. It can settle down somebody's demeanor sometimes too. We've had situations where Michelle, when somebody gets a little crazy and I have to come up front. But she does a good job of dealing with people too, so.
I would say, you just spent your time in California, this is kind of it's a very small town, so it's going to be all small town business, all small town problems, so elderly, a lot of families, a lot of those types of small community issues. It's not going to be, it's not going to be right.
Right, yeah. That's fine. Like I said, I'm a Berkshire County native, so I'm kind of used to that small town vibe, and I just, fit right in. So I just did the LA experience just because I had never been out there before. It's actually one of the reasons I did choose to go to Quinnipiac to get my internship credits. They had a Dream in LA program where you had to be accepted to go and do that. So I did that my senior year, and that was just a great experience.
No, I think you answered all our questions, and
I did want to ask about, it looks like on a weekly basis for scheduling. I think it was in here before. So it's a Monday to Thursday position? Are Fridays ever required for anything? Or?
No, not really. Monday to Thursday, 8:30 to 4:30.
Okay.
Pay dates are every 2 weeks.
It's full benefits.
Full benefits.
Okay.
It's Blue Cross. First account retirement.
We pay 75% of your health insurance, we pay 25.
Okay.
And I didn't use holidays, making holidays well.
after 10 years, you're vested.
One thing is the first year that you're hired is a 1 week vacation. And then when you're going into year 2, after you complete year 1, then it goes up to 2 weeks. But you do get 10 days sick. Okay. Well, and then right when you start.
Yeah, and another thing moving forward too, whoever this job is, I
coming in, I've got car clubs coming in. So whoever my administrative assistants are gonna work side by side, you can help promote these things. At Christmas time, I'm gonna do a community tree out there, I'm gonna do a lot of different things, I want to get the community involved. Which we never had before, and I think it's important, I think people like it too, absolutely. I think that first concert we had, we had 114 people there, so I think it was great. It was great.
It sounds small, but really when you get that amount of people all together, it looks huge.
It was actually surprising how many people.
Yeah.
In a good way, yeah, maybe we ever had that.
See, I'm hoping to turn off from after the election, so. That's true.
Well, I know, like, being on social media all the time, I'm constantly looking at Facebook events going on, just to see what's going on there, so that's definitely a good resource to use. And like I said, the email marketing too, if you can, somehow compile a list of emails, even just collecting them when people walk through the door for the meetings, just having a list to write down their emails for, hey, get our weekly newsletter, it's as simple as that.
That's a good idea, too. We don't do it, we have what's happening in the town, you know.
One thing to keep in mind is, we can run with a million ideas and million things, but we have a budget to follow and guidelines to also follow, so we can't just do all these crazy activities and all this fun that we want to say. We need to have the money to do them. So that's just really important to know, like, we can have these great ideas, but we need to be able to fund them. Right, so.
Or at least to keep it short.
And then also being able to execute those ideas
And
too.
then the council can have these faster, right? So it can't just be, all of this.
It's not a free for all.
Because it's not our money, it's the taxpayers' money, and they want to know how that's being, they want their dollars being spent the right way. So,
So I have a grant coming next year, $5,000 to mandate for recreational purposes. So we have a lot of money to spend on different things.
next year. Next year.
Next year.
Yes. Trying to keep you in line.
Keep me aware, please, keep me in check, so.
So also just listed here, it mentioned about setup of the meetings, I assume that's the weekly town meetings, is that just like setting up the room, is that kind of what that means, or?
Also, like the select board meetings.
Okay.
So we just want to make sure they have all the necessary information needed, all of what's posted on the agenda, so we have everything.
So everything printed out?
Yes. All our signatures tabbed off, because it expedites our
Right.
process.
But they'll just
Warrants.
send information prior as well to their emails, so they have time to review it.
Absolutely.
So it's not at the last minute that they have to look at it.
That's what I was like, example agenda kind of looks like this, and just kind of some way to point out, each item that, we're discussing tonight. And a lot of like stuff like this has to be posted 48 hours before a meeting, weekends knocked out. Just need to stay compliant, there's a lot of compliancy that we have to be aware of when it comes to like that.
So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Like I mentioned before, just kind of utilizing different processes of what works best for me. I know that Google Calendar is a really great tool as well because you get email alerts that come right to you. So being able to incorporate something like that either goes straight to me, goes straight to the office.
More alerts about it, so.
Yeah.
Also,
I am a sticky note person. I love to write sticky notes everywhere to remind me. So.
A lot of information that we receive from Steve for the most part. So all of this stuff, the early emails about the agenda, even the application stuff is up to Steve's, came through the show. So all our information before our meetings, and all the information during our meetings comes from you. So we do go out and
We're only, the first and third Monday at 5 p.m. And typically, special meetings like this, conduct interviews or if something has to get approved with a certain deadline, we'll have a special meeting, but those are far and few between.
I don't really have an issue with that at all. I mean, where I am currently, I'm required to go to special events, at once every few months, even staying after hours sometimes is required, like job fairs or whatever it may be, so.
you may take minutes sometimes in meetings. There are some responsibilities.
I think moving forward during this year, we're going to be also having like the Zoom when Jason has a grant to connect into that. Also, that's another option too. So that might
you have any other questions for us?
I think that covered all the things that I wrote down. Yeah, that's it for me. Thank you guys for being here.
Appreciate coming to that.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Thank you for the time. Nice to meet you guys. See you. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
So our meeting tonight, if there's any public comments. All right, I'll adjourn tonight's meeting at 6:58 PM.